All right. This CyberiCON 2025 recording you sent over.
Yeah.
Deloitte always puts together, I don't know, such a fascinating lineup of experts.
Yeah.
This year's focus on cybersecurity and tech transformation is right in our wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm particularly intrigued by some of the discussions on network detection and response,
Yeah.
cyber resilience,
Right.
even something called digital twins for security testing.
Mm-hmm.
What is that all about?
Well, it's packed with insights, this recording. It really highlights how interconnected everything is and why network visibility is becoming so crucial for security professionals.
It's mind-boggling when you think about it.
Yeah.
Practically every device and system is linked in some way.
Yeah.
I imagine that creates a massive headache for security teams,
It does.
trying to keep track of everything and secure it all.
One of the key challenges that they highlighted in this recording is the sheer speed and sophistication of the attacks these days.
Right.
Think about the attackers using AI to automate their efforts so they can probe for vulnerabilities, adapt their tactics, and launch these attacks at a scale we haven't seen before.
So it's not just about new vulnerabilities being discovered. It's about the attacker's ability to exploit them faster and more effectively.
Exactly.
Ah.
Yeah, it's like they've gone from using hand tools to wielding automated machinery, and then you compound that with the increasing use of encryption.
Oh, right.
It makes it that much harder to inspect network traffic and identify malicious activity.
Right. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but the haystack is constantly shifting and growing.
Exactly.
And then on top of that, you've got this explosion of OT and IoT devices.
Right.
Industrial control systems, smart devices, you name it.
All of it.
Many of these can't even have traditional security agents installed on them.
Yeah.
So how on earth do you secure something that's essentially invisible to your existing security tools?
It's a huge concern, but there are innovative approaches emerging. And one that really stood out from this CyberiCON 2025 recording is network detection and response, or NDR.
Okay, NDR, I'm familiar with the concept, but I'm eager to hear how the experts at the event are tackling it.
Well, one of the companies they highlighted is Darktrace.
Okay.
And their approach is fascinating.
Okay.
Instead of trying to predict every possible attack, or rely solely on known signatures.
Right.
They use AI to establish a guideline of what normal behavior looks like on your network.
Oh, okay. So it's like having an AI security guard who learns the rhythms of your network.
Exactly.
Can spot even the slightest deviation from the norm.
Precisely.
Interesting.
And once that baseline is established, Darktrace's AI can detect anomalies in real time.
Okay.
Even subtle ones.
So, for example, like an employee who suddenly starts downloading massive amounts of data at 3 a.m.
Exactly.
Or somebody accessing systems they never touched before.
Right.
These could be signs of an insider threat or a compromised account.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's about detecting unusual behavior rather than just blocking known bad files. But wouldn't that lead to a ton of false alarms?
Yeah.
I mean, people's work habits can vary.
Sure.
Sometimes they need to access things outside their normal routine.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And it's something that Darktrace addresses directly.
Okay.
They use a multi-layered AI system.
Okay.
So one layer focuses on understanding individual user behavior,
Right.
while another layer is analyzing network-wide patterns.
I see.
This helps to distinguish between something that's genuinely malicious versus something that's just unusual but benign.
Okay, so for example, if I occasionally work late on a project,
Right.
Darktrace would learn that this is normal for me.
Exactly.
Even if it deviates from the typical 9 to 5 pattern.
Precisely. Yeah, and that's where the power of AI really shines. It can adapt to those individual nuances and redeem false positives.
Yep.
But it can also spot when those deviations fall outside of acceptable bounds.
Right.
Like if you suddenly started accessing sensitive financial data that you've never touched before.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
It's almost like having an AI security analyst that can sift through mountains of data and pinpoint the truly suspicious activity.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
This is why NDR is becoming so crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Traditional security approaches like antivirus software, they just can't keep up with the speed and complexity of modern threats.
Oh.
They rely on predefined signatures and rules which attackers can easily evade.
Right.
It's like trying to catch a thief with a wanted poster that's already outdated.
Yeah.
NDR, on the other hand, it's like having a detective who can analyze behavior and spot suspicious patterns, even if the culprit is using entirely new tactics.
Exactly. It's a fundamental shift from reactive security to proactive detection and response.
And frankly, in today's threat landscape, I'd say any company connected to a network needs to seriously consider NDR solutions. It's not a question of if you'll be attacked, it's when.
Right.
Yeah.
When.
And being able to detect those attacks early.
Yes.
Respond effectively.
Absolutely.
They make all the difference.
It can make or break you these days.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
It really highlights how the game has changed in cybersecurity. It's not just about building walls anymore.
Right.
It's about having agile defenses that can adapt
Yeah.
and respond to whatever comes your way.
Yeah.
Which brings us to another key theme from the CyberiCON 2025 recording.
Right.
Cyber resilience.
Cyber resilience, yeah.
The ability to bounce back from attacks is more critical than ever.
Oh, absolutely.
The recording delved into some pretty sobering statistics about the impact of ransomware, where attackers don't just encrypt your data,
Right.
they target your backups as well.
Yeah, they go after everything.
We're talking about potentially crippling outages that could bring an entire organization to a standstill.
Absolutely.
It's a nightmare scenario. And beyond the financial cost, there's the reputational damage.
Right.
And the loss of customer trust.
It's a 1-2 punch.
It's like a 1-2 punch that can have lasting consequences.
Absolutely.
What's particularly striking is how the experts at CyberiCON 2025,
Yeah.
they emphasize that cyber resilience is not just about disaster recovery.
Right.
It's a proactive approach.
It has to be baked in.
That needs to be embedded in your entire security strategy.
From day one.
So it's not just about having a fire extinguisher handy.
Right.
It's about making sure your building is fire resistant in the first place.
I love that analogy. It's perfect.
It's about understanding that attacks will happen.
They will.
And preparing your systems and your people to weather the storm.
You got to have a plan.
What struck me in the recording was how they discussed the growing pressure from regulations.
Oh, yeah.
Like NIS and DORA.
Mm-hmm.
Can you remind us what those are all about?
Sure. NIS, the Network and Information Security Directive, is a European Union regulation that aims to boost the overall cybersecurity level across a number of vital sectors.
Okay.
Like energy, transportation, healthcare, digital infrastructure.
So critical infrastructure.
Absolutely.
Essential services.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then DORA, the Digital Operational Resilience Act, focuses specifically on the financial sector.
Okay.
Setting stringent requirements for risk management, incident reporting, testing.
So we're not just talking about best practices anymore.
Yeah.
It's becoming a legal obligation.
In many industries.
Yeah. To have these robust cyber resilience capabilities.
Absolutely. And it's driving companies to take a much more proactive and structured approach to cyber resilience.
Speaking of which.
Yeah.
What were some of the key steps that the experts recommended for building cyber resilience?
Sure.
I remember them outlining a pretty clear framework.
Well, they started by emphasizing the need to identify your critical applications and data.
Right.
What are your crown jewels? The things that absolutely cannot go down, even for a short period.
Right. Got it.
And then you need to determine your acceptable downtime thresholds for each of those critical assets.
So it's about understanding the potential impact of an outage.
Right.
And setting realistic expectations based on the criticality of the system.
Exactly.
So, for example, a customer-facing website might have a much lower downtime tolerance than an internal HR system.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And once you have those thresholds defined, then you can start developing your recovery plans and testing them rigorously.
This is where it gets really interesting.
It does.
Because the recording had a great discussion of how companies are using technology to automate and streamline these efforts.
Oh, absolutely.
That was the part with Rubric, right?
Yes.
Their approach seemed really, really interesting.
Rubric was featured prominently.
Okay.
Their platform helps companies automate the creation of recovery blueprints for their critical applications, including things like the order in which systems need to be restored.
So instead of relying on manual processes, hoping for the best,
hoping and praying,
I have this detailed and automated plan that guides you through the recovery process.
I do step by step.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, and what's really impressive is that Rubric allows you to conduct recovery tests in isolated environments that mirror your actual production environment.
Oh, okay.
So you're not just testing on paper.
Right.
You're actually spinning up your systems.
Got it.
In a safe sandbox.
Okay.
To validate your recovery procedures.
That's a game changer.
It is.
You're not relying on assumptions.
No.
Or outdated documentation.
Right.
You're getting real-world feedback on how your systems will perform under pressure.
Exactly.
and you can measure your recovery time objectives
Uh-huh.
or RTOs
RTO.
with a high degree of accuracy.
Yes.
This is essential for meeting those regulatory requirements we talked about.
Absolutely. Got to make sure you're compliant.
The recording gave a real-world example of a company
Uh-huh.
that thought they could recover their email system within 24 hours.
Okay.
But their tests with Rubric revealed it would actually take closer to 48 hours.
Oh, wow.
They were able to adjust their plan accordingly
Good thing they tested.
and avoid a potential compliance issue.
Yeah, that's a bullet dodged.
That's a powerful testament to the value of testing and automation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about checking a box.
Yeah.
It's about having confidence
Right.
that your recovery plans will actually work when you need them most.
When it hits the fan.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's the overarching takeaway from the cyber resilience discussion at CyberICON 2025.
Okay.
In today's world, it's not a question of if you'll be attacked, it's a question of when.
Right.
And having a robust cyber resilience strategy in place can mean the difference between a minor setback and a catastrophic event.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So we talked about being able to detect and respond to threats,
Right.
and then building resilience to bounce back from them.
Yeah.
But the CyberICON 2025 recording had one more fascinating topic I wanted to kind of dig into.
Uh-huh.
Digital twins.
Yes.
I've heard about them being used in other industries,
Yeah.
like simulating how a building will perform,
Mm-hmm.
optimizing a manufacturing process.
Right.
But how do they apply to something as complex as cybersecurity?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one that a lot of people are asking.
Right.
It's a relatively new concept in cybersecurity,
Okay.
but it's rapidly gaining traction.
Okay.
And in essence, a digital twin for cybersecurity
Yeah.
is a virtual replica of your IT and OT environment.
Okay.
Your servers, networks, applications, devices,
Right.
all mirrored in a dynamic digital model.
So it's not just a static snapshot
No.
of your systems.
Right.
It's a live, breathing copy
Yeah,
that's constantly updated to reflect changes in your real environment.
precisely. And that's what makes it so powerful.
Okay.
You can use this twin to simulate attacks.
Right.
Test your security defenses. Okay.
And assess the potential impact of vulnerabilities
Yeah.
without risking any disruption to your live systems.
That sounds incredibly valuable,
It is.
especially in today's world where you can't afford to have any downtime
Right.
or expose your systems to unnecessary risk.
Of course.
It's like having a safe sandbox where you can experiment,
Exactly.
see how things play out without any real-world consequences.
Precisely.
And one company that's really pushing the boundaries of digital twins in cybersecurity is EXEM Cyber.
Yes.
They were featured in the CyberICON recording,
They were.
and their approach is really innovative.
It is.
They build and maintain these twins in the cloud,
Yeah.
constantly ingesting data from your real environment
Right.
to ensure that the twin is always an accurate reflection
Up to date.
of your current security posture.
Exactly.
So it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing.
No.
It's a dynamic system
It has to be.
that's constantly learning and evolving as your environment changes.
And what's particularly impressive
Yeah.
is how EXEM Cyber uses these twins to simulate a wide range of attack scenarios. They have a library of pre-built attacks,
Right.
from ransomware to data theft.
Yeah.
But they can also create custom scenarios based on your specific threat landscape.
Exactly.
So you could essentially test out how your systems would respond to a nation-state attack,
Mm-hmm.
a disgruntled insider threat,
Right.
even a sophisticated supply chain attack,
Absolutely.
all within the safety of your digital twin.
In the sandbox.
That's amazing.
It is.
And it's not just about simulating the attacks themselves.
Right.
It's about understanding the potential impact.
Yeah, where would they strike first?
Right. Where are the weak points?
What systems are most vulnerable? How quickly could they spread?
Yeah, these are all questions that a digital twin can help answer.
Gonna help you answer.
The recording mentioned something called choke points.
Uh-huh.
Can you explain what that means in this context?
Yeah, choke points are essentially critical junctions in your infrastructure.
Okay.
And EXEM Cyber's platform can identify these choke points
Right.
and show you how securing them can effectively block multiple attack paths.
I see.
So it's about finding those strategic points where you can get the most bang for your buck.
Right. It makes sense intuitively.
Yeah,
But I imagine it takes a sophisticated analysis
it does.
to identify those choke points in a complex network.
It does. Very complex.
I'm guessing that's where the AI and the machine learning come in.
Absolutely.
You need a system that can analyze massive amounts of data,
Mhm.
Understand the relationships between your system
All the interconnections.
and identify those key points of vulnerability.
And prioritize them.
Right.
Exactly.
It sounds like digital twins aren't just a cool tech demo.
No.
They're a powerful tool for making informed decisions about your security posture.
Absolutely.
But do they replace traditional security measures, like penetration testing or red teaming?
That's a great question. And that came up at the CyberiCON recording as well.
Okay.
And the consensus was no, it's not a replacement,
Right.
but rather a complement.
So it's about using the right tool for the job.
The right tool for the job.
Digital twins can automate a lot of the heavy lifting
Yeah.
when it comes to simulating attacks and identifying vulnerabilities.
Right.
But human experts are still essential
Absolutely.
for understanding the nuances,
Yes.
interpreting the results,
Right.
and developing those effective mitigation strategies.
Then do it about them.
So it's about combining the power of AI and automation
Yeah.
with the ingenuity and the experience of human security professionals.
You got it.
It's like having a high-tech security system, but with a team of seasoned guards who can anticipate threats and respond accordingly.
I love it. That's a great analogy.
And I think that's the key takeaway when it comes to digital twins and cybersecurity. They're not a silver bullet, but they're an incredibly valuable tool for proactively assessing your risk,
Right.
identifying vulnerabilities, hardening your defenses.
You got it, Herb.
We've covered so much ground in this deep dive,
Yeah.
from the importance of network visibility and detection
Yeah.
to the proactive approach of cyber resilience,
Right.
and now this fascinating world of digital twins.
It is fascinating.
It's clear that the cybersecurity landscape is constantly evolving,
Oh, absolutely.
but the experts at CyberICON 2025 have given us a lot to think about and some powerful tools to consider.
Absolutely. Lots to chew on.
And as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with one final thought-provoking question.
Okay. Hit me.
In an increasingly complex and interconnected world, what steps can you take
Yeah.
to not just keep pace, but to stay ahead of the curve in cybersecurity?
Great question.